morning, my friends. You're just in time, just getting ready to take off here. So thank you so much for starting your day with us. Nice to have you along.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in the no-win scenario. This is the
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show, Friday, May 9th. Well, the Catholic Church has a new pope. He was chosen yesterday, and he's an American. So we are seeing the first American pope, and he has chosen the name Pope Leo the 14th. And we're learning more about him. There's a lot of background and politically and where he has stood and things that he has said. So there's a lot of reaction to the new pope. And I found this interesting. Bishop Donald Kettler here in Sioux Falls spoke with Kettleland TV about the selection of Pope Leo. And Bishop Kettler is someone who's had a presence in my life and in the life of my family. When I was first married, he was the one who, officiated the ceremony, conducted baptisms of my children, and is somebody that I have just really admired. I've heard him, give the homily, I don't know how many times. I've always had such deep respect for Bishop Don Kettler. So Kettleland TV talked to him about the selection of Pope Leo. And he said he was very pleased by the Pope's first message. He said, loving people, caring for the people, being aware of and thinking about and working for everybody. He said a sense of unity. Those are the kinds of things that I hoped he would talk about. And then there's a lot of attention now on Pope Leo because he's the first American pope. And he's originally from Chicago. And Bishop Kettler said, being American, people are going to be thinking about that. And is that going to change how the country acts with the church or with the people? He said, I'm trying to really think about or think that his appointment should really be seen separate from that. And that he is the Pope for the whole world and not particularly the United States. He says, that's what I would hope for. And clearly that's the case. I have thought that as well, that he is the Pope for the entire world. I think it's pretty fascinating to see an American being selected to be the Pope. And being able to see that, I think, for a lot of us, especially if you're Catholic, I won't tell you I'm a terrific Catholic, but I am a Catholic. So I've been watching this, especially yesterday. I was watching this with a lot of interest, and I had, Fox News was on, and as I was doing work in the studio, my eyes were up, looking up, okay, a pope has been selected, and then you're waiting, and then it takes a period of time, which you understand. It takes a period of time, but you're waiting to see who it is, and it was pretty amazing. And I've got to tell you, as a Catholic, I felt a lot of excitement regarding this yesterday. And I was, you look at the crowds of people who were over there in the Vatican, just the crowds and the joy. And then after the Pope had been selected, and then the tears that you saw flowing from a number of people, there was a lot of happiness. But the tears that were flowing, this is, for those of you who are not Catholic, this is very, very meaningful for those who are. Very, very meaningful. And I think you see that in the reactions of people who were there yesterday. So Bishop Kettler says of Pope Leo, he said he taught us about social justice. Maybe he was talking about how Pope Leo the 14th chose his name. And he says, we won't know that until, he tells us, but he says he wonders if he is, in choosing that name, being respectful than a previous Pope Leo the 13th. He says he taught us about social justice. Maybe he was the best Holy Father we had to talk about some of those things. And so I'm wondering if because of that was one of the reasonings why he picked Leo the 14th. And then he said that time is going to tell a lot. He said, one of the tasks of the Holy Father is to bring unity, not only to the people of the church, Christians, Catholics, but also to bring some better unity to everybody else in the world, in a world that's polarized a lot, he said. And so this is an opportunity, I think, to see that some of that might happen, and I'm so pleased about that. So that was Bishop Donald Kettler in an interview. I want to give Kellerland TV credit. You can find more on their website at kellerland.com. So Pope Leo, some are saying that he has a disarming humility, that he will try to find common ground where he can, including the president. He has been a critic of the presidents in the past. So now we're getting into some of the politics of the selection of the Pope and what his views have been and things that he has said publicly. It turns out he is a registered Republican in Illinois. Again, he's from Chicago. Registered Republican in Illinois, has been a critic of Donald Trump at times. And Charlie Kirk wrote about this last night in a post on X. He says that, again, the Pope's given name is Robert Francis Prevost. So it's Robert Prevost. And Charlie Kirk on X last night said Prevost had voted in Republican primaries when he was in the country, also voted in the 2024 general election. Kirk said, our data shows he's a strong Republican and he's pro-life, which is a big part of the Catholic Church, pro-life. He has also been, I think back in February, Prevost has been on social media. And he was on X, and you don't see a lot of, cardinals and who are on social media. You just don't see that. Prevost has been on social media. So he shared a link on X back in February to a National Catholic Reporter article titled, J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others. And they were taking issue with remarks that Vance had made. There's a Christian concept that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens, and then after that, prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. So he had shared that article and so on. So as we bring politics into it, the president on True Social yesterday, this is early yesterday afternoon, President Trump weighed in, and he said, congratulations to Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, who was just named Pope. It is such an honor to realize that he is the first American Pope. What excitement and what a great honor for our country. I look forward to meeting Pope Leo the 14th. It will be a very meaningful moment, the president said. So there's a lot of examination of Pope Leo and what he has said. Piece at the New York Post this morning, the pontiff on abortion, climate change, homosexuality, capital punishment. And you can find more there. Also at the New York Post this morning, I mean, this is just an absolutely huge story. And you might imagine, New York Post had a very neat piece. The Vatican gave a behind the scenes look moments after Prevost became Pope. So moments after he was named as Pope, he was selected as Pope, the Vatican gave some behind the scenes look at that. Vatican News posted footage of the new pontiff embracing the 133 members of the College of Cardinals who selected him, and so really behind the scenes, which is really kind of, I was fascinated by it. Again, understanding that not necessarily everyone would be, but again, as a Catholic, I was really drawn into this and watching this yesterday and understanding the significance of choosing a new pope, and really, and spent some moments then yesterday praying about it, that that God would work His will in the selection of the pope. So that's an incredibly big story this morning. Also, we overshadowed, I think, by the selection of the Pope yesterday, and a lot of happiness surrounding that. The biggest domestic news yesterday was President Trump meeting with the United Kingdom in the Oval Office. And he announced yesterday the two countries will cut back on trade barriers. This is the president announcing his first major trade deal. And the president spoke about this. So this agreement is going to allow the United States to gain increased market access in the United Kingdom. You had the Prime Minister of the UK there, Keir Starmer. Well, he spoke to the president over the phone. And he told the president he's really pleased with the deal between the two countries. So they're still working out the final details, but President Trump said both countries have agreed that economic security is national security and will be working together as allies to ensure that we have a strong industrial base and appropriate export controls and protections for key technologies and industries like steel. He said steel was a big factor. Both countries will become stronger with steel, President said. So he also posted a chart on social media showing that Britain's tariffs on U.S. goods will drop to 1.8%, while reciprocal tariffs on the United Kingdom will remain at 10%. And he said other countries should not view the 10% tariff on Britain as to how the administration is going to conduct any future deals. So don't look at that and think you're going to get the same deal that Great Britain is receiving. And so the UK's Prime Minister Starmer said of this deal, it's really important. He said this is going to boost trade between and across our countries. It's not only going to protect jobs, but create jobs, opening market access. So this is a pretty big step for the Trump administration. White House saying this trade deal will open up $5 billion in new market access for American exporters in the UK. The 10% baseline tariff still in effect. And the White House said that will generate $6 billion in external revenue. The president on social media said U.S. products that are gaining unprecedented access to the U.K. market include, and this will make a lot of farmers, I think, especially happy, ethanol, beef, cereal, fruits, vegetables, animal feed, tobacco, soft drinks, shellfish, textiles, chemicals, machinery, and more, the president said. As part of this deal, the first 100,000 British-made cars imported into the U.S. annually will face a 10% tariff. So this was a pretty big deal. They're working together on steel and more. Okay, also, we had the former president on The View yesterday. And so Joe Biden out there in the, trying to resuscitate his legacy. He's on The View along with his wife, because if you notice that Joe Biden is traveling, and this was true even when he was president, I think in the last few years especially, Jill Biden, you know what she reminds me of? Jeff Dunham with his hand up, that puppet. He's got that Joe Biden cranky old puppet. It's like Jill Biden's the puppet master. And you saw that yesterday on The View. And a lot of people are noting that, the legacy media is running with the headline, Biden would have beaten Trump if he'd have stayed in the race. He is just operating under such delusions. And I didn't expect that to change, but we got a close-up view of that yesterday. So let's take a look at some of the headlines of the legacy media here. Joe Biden tells The View that Trump had the worst 100 days of any president. Biden stumbles over a question about Harris' timetable to win after he dropped out of the race. Even Variety says, get a load of this. This is the headline at Variety. Joe Biden's The View interview was a botched attempt to restore his legacy. Yeah. And there are a lot of people who are saying, here are the key takeaways. That's pretty common in the media. Here are the key takeaways of worst 100 days. Biden telling The View he wasn't surprised that Trump won the election, blames sexism and COVID on the loss of Kamala Harris. No such thing. Are you surprised that he's still out of touch? I don't think so. I'm certainly not. So he's Daily Mail headline, arrogant Joe Biden tells The View he's not surprised Trump beat Kamala. It just goes on. So not surprised. But he would have beaten Trump if he had stayed in the race. Joe's going to take that, I think, to his grave. He really is. Or at least until he no longer remembers it. It's just the times I think that we live in. Also, the president saying yesterday, do you know who Jeanine Pirro is? I think many of you do if you watch Fox News channel. Jeanine Pirro, one of the hosts of the Five. The president yesterday saying he's naming Jeanine Pirro to be the top federal prosecutor for the nation's capital. So Pirro, again, she joined Fox News in 2006. She's a co-host on The Five. She was elected as a judge in New York in 1990. served 3 terms as the county's elected district attorney. So the president now has named Jeanine Pirro to lead the nation's largest U.S. attorney's office. Also, the president calling yesterday for a 30-day unconditional ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. And he warned that Washington and its partners would impose further sanctions if the ceasefire is not respected, the president said. Now, the president has also named the former interim U.S. attorney, Ed Martin, to 3 key roles at the Department of Justice, where he will be overseeing investigations into political weaponization under the Biden administration. So for those of you who have wanted to see more action against the weaponization, the political weaponization that has taken place, Ed Martin will be the guy to do that. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Clear skies, 55. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Weeknights 5 to 8. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hot Dog is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson Picture and Combination Windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 615-646-2667 today. That's ABC Seamless.
At BMW Motorcycles of Sioux Falls, the BMW F900 GS and the all-new R1300 GS aren't just bikes. They're built for curiosity, for grit, for adventure. This is the spirit of BMW GS. Make it the ride at your 90 Powerhouse.
Every spring, we come together and make a difference in the lives of children. This year, Sanford Health Foundation invites you to join us in supporting the Children's Miracle Network and Sanford Children's Hospital. Every child deserves to grow up healthy and happy, but we need your help. Join us this spring and give hope and a chance for a brighter future for kids. Sanford Health Foundation and the Children's Miracle Network are changing children's lives one miracle at a time. Visit SanfordHealthFoundation.org to donate.
When it comes to preparing for a crisis, it doesn't matter if you're a year early, a month early, or a day early, but you can't be a day late. That's why millions of Americans trust My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest preparedness company. Right now, you can get their 4-week emergency food supply, plus an incredible bonus. 4 free 72-hour food kits. That's an extra 12 days worth of food, absolutely free. This kit provides hearty, delicious meals for 4 weeks, 2,000 plus calories per day, 12 essential vitamins and minerals, and a shelf life of up to 25 years. And for a limited time, they're including 12 additional days of food, absolutely free, which means right now is the best time to get prepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com today to claim your 4-week food kit, plus an extra 12 days of free food. Offer ends soon. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Very warm this afternoon. Our high temperature at 88. West winds at 5 to 15. Mild weather tonight, low 55, and very warm for Mother's Day weekend. High tomorrow, 88 degrees, close to 90 on Sunday with a fire weather watch in effect for the entire region. From the Storm Center.
And in Sioux Falls at 6:30, clear skies, 55 already this morning. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Nice to have you along. Fox News Radio coming up next. A lot of reaction to the new Pope being selected yesterday. So Fox will have more on that for you in moments. Joe Bowman coming up with local headlines from the Kello.com News Center.
Celebrates his first Mass at the Sistine Chapel. The Cardinals will elect him as new leader of the Catholic Church.
As we celebrate this morning, I invite you to recognize the marvels that the Lord has done, the blessings that the Lord continues to pour out upon all of us.
Cardinal Robert Prevost is the first American pope. The last to take the name Leo died in 1903. A Victory Day parade in Moscow celebrates Russian victory in World War II.
Defense Minister Andrei Belousov greets thousands of troops watching from the sidelines not only Russian President Vladimir Putin, but key allies, including Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump names Fox News host Judge Amy Pirro interim U.S. Attorney for D.C. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A police standoff in Sioux Falls shut down part of West 12th Street yesterday morning. Around 7:20 a.m., Sioux Falls police and SWAT closed the area between Hawthorne and Western in response to a suspect on a weapons violation who had barricaded himself in the Deluxe Motel. The suspect was eventually taken into custody. More details should be released later today. A legislative oversight committee dipped its toe into the years-long struggle over the South Dakota Brand Board. Complaints about a backlog of brand registrations are ongoing. Brand Board President Scott Vance was among those appearing before the legislature's Government Operations and Audit Committee yesterday morning. Representative Julie Auck of Canton offered firsthand evidence of problems dealing with the Brand Board, saying she's been waiting for a return call for more than a year.
That happened this year, and it happened in 2024 also. So I have yet to receive a phone call back from 2024, and I have yet to receive a phone call back from 2025.
The legislature rejected a bill this year to move the Brand Board's financial reporting functions from the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources to the Office of School and Public Lands. Brand inspectors, producers, and lawmakers are calling for more accountability from the Brand Board. USD students are raising concerns over their international classmates facing possible deportation. They're calling on USD to offer clearer guidance and support. Student visa holders hope to get more answers on whether they'll be able to return next semester. Over in Meade County, residents are pushing back against a proposed 51-lot housing development that includes a private airstrip planned about 10 miles north of Rapid City. They say they're worried about noise, safety, and environmental impact. And the Sioux Falls housing market picked up in April, defying national trends. New listings rose 6%, closed sales were up 2%. The median sold price, $318,000, averaging 88 days on the market. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
Weather brought to you by Infinity Sedation Dentistry, Sioux Falls. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
A very warm start to Mother's Day weekend. Our high temperature this afternoon at 88. West winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight's low 55. Tomorrow, southeast winds and a high temperature at 88. And on Mother's Day, fire weather watch in effect, windy and dry, high of 90. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
Serving the Sioux Empire with the latest news and the greatest talk. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9, and Kello.com.
If you include all the sales taxes, Apple's latest top-of-the-line iPhone will cost you more than $1,000. Yeah, a lot of money. And no, it has nothing to do with tariffs. I'm Kim Commando for Total AV, the award-winning antivirus software for just $19 right now at protectwithkim.com. 90% of Apple's iPhones are made in China, and unless things change fast, China will be hit with the highest tariffs, I think somewhere greater than 100%. So when the tariffs hit, a top-of-the-line iPhone could cost you more than $2,000. Apple's trying to get ahead by pulling some of the new iPhones out of India to boost American inventory. Apple's also greatly increasing production in China to get more phones into America as soon as possible. But Apple can only shuffle inventory around for so long before the inevitable tariff price increases hit. My best advice is for anyone who really needs an upgrade, don't wait. Now is the time. Join 650,000 people who start their day with my free newsletter. You're just going to love it. Sign up at getkim.com. Cybercrime is on the rise, and hackers are getting smarter every day. From phishing scams to ransomware attacks, criminals are after your devices and your money. So how do you fight back? One of the best defenses is solid antivirus software. Block suspicious websites.
Homeland Security's got an ad that's running on Fox News here. Christy, no.
Emails or clicking links doesn't hurt either.
I can't see the text.
Antivirus help you need.
Somebody keeps turning off closed captioning on our television in here.
Keeping you protected from the latest threats. Go to protectwithkim.com now.
I get things just the way I want it.
Just $19 for the first year. It covers up to 5 devices.
Yeah, I'm not stressing.
Windows, Macs, and smartphones. That's protectwithkim.com. Don't wait until it's too late. Your security matters. Get protected now. Go to protectwithkim.com for my exclusive deal with Total AV. Just $19 for the first year. That's protectwithkim.com. Protectwithkim.com.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is brought to you by Tires. Making your vehicle ride like new. Sioux Falls. I gotta start wearing short sleeve shirts. It's been nice, man, this week.
The storm? Safeguard your best investment with Woods Roofing, your storm readiness experts. This is Matt Woods with Woods Roofing, and we have.
Although I must say,
durable roofs, sturdy siding,
more rain is needed. Would be appreciated. As much as I love this weather,
storm readiness inspection. Protect what
really worried about what this season's gonna, what the season will hold for us.
9517 to experience the Woods Roofing way.
It's on the job, on the field, on an errand, or at home. Accidents can happen anywhere. If you suffer a break, sprain, or any other orthopedic injury, trust the experienced orthopedic team at Avera Orthopedics Urgent Care to keep you moving. Be seen immediately inside the Avera Specialty Hospital at 69th and Louise. No appointment necessary. Learn more about Avera's Orthopedic Urgent Care at avera.org/orthopedic urgent care.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with eyes.
Yeah, I'm with you, Robert. I like Ed Martin too.
Slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer.
It's time to start rooting rooting people out. Figure out what's been going on and find the people who are responsible in the federal government for undermining it. Yeah, I'm all about that.
Doctor about eye survey today.
That's what Trump does well too, I think, is he puts he seeks out people and then the right people and then go. And Trump is really good at that. And Ed Martin is going to be, that's not something that the president can oversee. He's working on these trade deals, with the UK and other countries. He's got all of that going on. So you need to put people in positions where they can take the ball and run. And a lot of us have been very concerned what was happening during the Biden administration, and I think even far beyond that. One of the stories trending this morning, Letitia James. She's back in the news. That story's trending. I just love it. She's out there raging. It's just hilarious. Seeing her now, the government going after her in the way that she was bringing the government after Donald Trump. It's just, I love it.
Words away on your smart speaker, and we're available anywhere, anytime on your smartphone with a free Kello app. Stimulating talk and news when it happens. Kello.
All right.
News Talk
20 minutes before 7. Oh, and what a beautiful morning. Sunshine, 55. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. Brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell. Offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Tweeting in. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
Now, the big story trending this morning is, of course, the selection of Cardinal Robert Prevost to be the first ever American Pope. He will be known as Pope Leo the 14th. And it's pretty incredible. A lot of the stories you're seeing this morning are all along the lines of him and reaction, and it was incredibly fascinating and moving, I think, for those of us who are Catholics to be able to watch this yesterday. So the president also saying yesterday that he's looking forward to meeting Pope Leo. And he said, congratulations to Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, who was just named Pope. It is such an honor to realize that he is the first American Pope. What excitement and what a great honor for our country. This is Trump on Truth Social. And then he said, I look forward to meeting Pope Leo the 14th. It will be a very meaningful moment, he said. And this happened as the president was meeting with officials then from the UK yesterday, and Prime Minister Keir Starmer described this as a deeply profound moment of joy for Catholics in the United Kingdom and globally, he said. Which it was. I don't know if you watched any of that yesterday. The crowds, just the massive crowds, inside the square there, St. Basilica Square. It was just absolutely amazing. And there were tears, and there was a lot of happiness, and a new pope being named yesterday. And for many, it appeared to be incredibly meaningful. All right, also trending this morning, the president nominating Dr. Casey Means for the position of Surgeon General. He pulled a previous nomination, and he announced this on Truth Social on Wednesday. He had put forward another doctor, and forgive me, I'm unsure on the pronunciation of her name, but the president pulled her nomination for Surgeon General and now was nominating Dr. Casey Means. Means is she received her education at Stanford, co-authored a book on metabolic health with her brother, and had become a fierce ally and public spokesperson for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again movement. And so the president said Casey has impeccable MAHA credentials, Make America Healthy Again. And she will work closely with our wonderful Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., to ensure a successful implementation of our agenda. He said, in order to reverse the chronic disease epidemic, ensure great health for all Americans, the president said yesterday. Former President Joe Biden's trip to The View yesterday is trending. You had Joe and Jill Biden on The View, and there wasn't much that has changed. And I don't know that you would have expected a lot to change. Jill Biden is still propping up the president, bailing him out at times when he can't answer questions or he gets lost. And don't be distracted by the media headlines as to how that thing went. Go take a look. Also, Letitia James is being... Now, there's a formal investigation into New York Attorney General Letitia James' real estate and mortgage dealings. The FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York, have launched this investigation. So there are some discrepancies with mortgage documents, and not discrepancies. This is Newsweek reporting discrepancies. No, outright lies. Claiming she's from New York, And she was claiming residence in what, Vermont? How can you claim residence in 2 states at the same time? She has to be a New York resident to be Attorney General. She's Attorney General. And she is filing documents saying she resides in Vermont. Oh, it's going to get difficult. And if you notice now, I don't know if you've heard any of the audio. I heard some earlier on America in the Morning today. The more the pressure is closing in on her, the more she's shouting and screaming, and it's just delightful. Just absolutely. And it's deserved, I think, in the minds of many of us. All right. Ukraine's parliament voted unanimously in favor of that landmark minerals deal with the United States. Did it yesterday afternoon. So now that's been ratified by Ukraine's parliament. And that's a big step now in setting this deal in motion. Calls for the creation of a joint investment fund with the United States. 226 votes were required for it to pass. 226. And Parliament, there were over, they shattered that with over, there were 100 votes over that, 338. So no lawmaker voted against it or abstained. So Ukraine's parliament ratifying that rare earth minerals deal with the United States. Also, Voice of America is planning to partner with One America News Network, according to Carrie Lake. This is a proposed partnership. You familiar with One America News Network? It's one of the websites I use regularly. It's One America News Network. And OAN, they're a conservative news outlet. The president has championed OAN before. So now Carrie Lake, who is running the Voice of America, overseeing the Voice of America now, OAN will provide newsfeed services to some of their networks, including the Office of Cuba Broadcasting, Radio Marty, Voice of America, Lake said. And she said, this is an enormous benefit to the American taxpayer, who is the sole source of funding for some of these news outlets. And they broadcast only to international audiences. So OAN, here's the piece from yahoonews.com. This makes me laugh. OAN is a small conservative media outlet known primarily for promoting Trump's unsubstantiated allegations of voter fraud. Oh, please. Another Maine school district, this is in the state of Maine, another school district there taking matters into their own hands in the state's disputes over transgender athletes in girls' sports. Happened earlier this week. Board of Directors for Maine's Region School Unit number 24 voted 7-1 to rescind a policy that allows trans athletes to compete in girls' sports. Now, the state of Maine overall is really kind of pushing this, and what you are seeing is more and more schools in Maine that are saying no, they're not doing it. Pretty incredible to watch that unfold, and the persistence of those people who push this stuff, just incredible. Also, Cameron Hamilton, name you might not be familiar with. He's the acting director of FEMA. He's been ousted by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. He told lawmakers in a hearing that he did not support eliminating FEMA. So he was tapped to lead FEMA in January at the start of the president's term. He will be replaced. He's there temporarily. And the president, as you know, as well as Noem, have been very critical of FEMA. Both of them have suggested eliminating the agency entirely. And so Hamilton has been there and trying to reform the agency and made it clear that he hoped that FEMA would remain, and now he's out. He is out. Also, Luigi Mangione and his legal defense fund has hit $1 million in donations. Mangione is accused of shooting the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, back in December, you'll remember. So this fund surpassed the 1 million mark in donations earlier this week. A lot of things that are baffling. That, and then this, you've got the protests at Columbia, another pro-Palestinian protest at Columbia University. 80 people were taken into custody yesterday morning. They were in the library and, in fact, destroying equipment that had not even been used yet. I mean, the amount of it, just absolutely incredible. The devastation of what they were doing. And so the 80 people now are in custody as a result of that. Also, I don't know if you saw this week, Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Wednesday said the State Department is reviewing the visa status of the trespassers and vandals who stormed Columbia University's library. Rubio said on Wednesday, pro-Hamas thugs are no longer welcome in our great nation, he said. They're going after them, taking a look at their visa status, and that might mean more trouble for some of these protesters as a result. The House of Representatives yesterday passed a bill that would rename the Gulf of America, change the name to would rename the Gulf of Mexico and change that to the Gulf of America. And this is what President Trump had signed in the executive order. Now Congress is trying to codify that. It passed the House of Representatives yesterday. And the bill requires that any reference in a law, map, regulation, document, paper, or other record to the Gulf of Mexico shall be changed to the Gulf of America. Bill Gates is saying that over the next 20 years, he plans to give away virtually all of his wealth. Did you catch this? Gates Foundation says it's given away more than $100 billion during the first 25 years. They will double that over the next 20 years. And Gates said he came to this decision to give away all his wealth after reading. He said, one of the best things I read was an 1889 essay by Andrew Carnegie called The Gospel of Wealth, he said. And he said it makes the case that the wealthy have a responsibility to return their resources to society. A radical idea at the time that laid the groundwork for philanthropy as we know it today. So he said he's speeding up his plans to divest his fortune, and he will close the Gates Foundation on December 31st, 2045. So he's announced that this week, giving away all of his wealth and closing his foundation. A few sports stories that are trending. You've got the NBA playoffs underway. New York Knicks rallied from a 20-point deficit to steal game 2 in Boston. Also, there's some news from hockey. The Utah NHL team has unveiled their new permanent identity. They picked Mammoth as their permanent name. So Utah Mammoth now are officially official. Also, the Trump administration resuming collection efforts on defaulted student loans this week after a roughly 5-year hiatus. So affected borrowers could begin feeling then those financial consequences as a result. They may, in fact, face collections. And the Trump administration is set to garnish the wages of over 5 million federal student loan borrowers in default. And you could see that within the next few months. And that's a look at the stories that are trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. Boy, it's a beautiful morning. Sunshine, 55 currently at Kello. In this hour of the Greg Belfrage Show, brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Well, thank you, my friend, for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Very much appreciated. Please come back at 9:30 today for the 4th hour. More news, more reaction, more of your comments, which I always enjoy. So I hope to see you then. Otherwise, have a great weekend.
Visit Sioux Falls and see their collection of new Ranger boats and pontoons.